Let's do it. Welcome, Warrior. I want to tell you about a terrific new study that was just released. And it's so important because it was something I've been thinking about for a while, but there were no actual studies to prove what I was thinking. But this study finds addictive screen use, not total screen time, is linked to youth suicide risk. So, a warning to you that we are going to be talking about some tough issues, very disturbing. If you feel like you need to get up or not listen to this, please, by all means, go ahead and do that. But we want you to get the information because you know what? This new study, I'm not really seeing it shared by too many people yet. Yeah, perhaps they're waiting. I don't know what they're waiting for, but this is a gold piece of information you need to have because we've always said that, oh, traditionally kids are spending from 9 to 17 upwards of 8 hours plus a day online. And I would always say, go to school, even homeschool, 8 hours sleeping, and everything else that goes with that. Like, how are they doing all of this? But this study kind of, now that does happen, but this study proves something I've been thinking about. It's more, and this is a very loaded thing, so bear with me. Mental health, right? This is exasperating, this potentiating this mental health in our kids. And we know we have a very well documented youth mental health crisis. You've heard me right here on the Warriors talk about it for about 3 years now. And this is happening. So again, we've got to look at, it's not the amount of time, right? It is the addiction of screening and being online for all these hours, or just being online even for an hour if you have an addictive. If you have an addictive nature, think of alcohol and drugs. If you have an addictive nature, it's there no matter what. You might do it one day, not the other day. It's about the word addiction. So let's go through this. But, kids exhibiting high addictive use behavior with social media, because we've had stories of parents telling us and family members, if you take the devices away, the kids become violent. They turn into these monsters. They have this increased physical strength where they actually would beat on their parents and siblings to get that phone back, to get that laptop back. So what's going on there? Right there. And I'm no psychologist or doctor. Something's going on. But this behavior is with social media, mobile phones, video games. Kids face roughly double the risk of this suicidal behavior, as well as symptoms of anxiety, depression, aggression, or rule breaking. Now, this is something we really want to talk about. But kids are becoming increasingly addicted to social media, the phones, video games, you've known all of that, right? And are at greater risk. Of course, if you're going to see nonsense online or these dangerous algorithms, don't let me go into that. The studies show your kids are fed all kinds of information. The longer they're online, the more they're going to see. They could innocently, for instance, the other day we had a little girl who with her friend put in 12 years old, how her baby's made. This is just the truth. Let me share it with you. And by the third search, it went into very graphic, hardcore porn. So they were simply asking a question that, 12 might ask, and that's what they get back. But this is really feeding into the behavioral issues. So let's peel that back a little bit and think about it. Because so many kids are out of control. And we don't point out all the kids that are in control and great. So I always want to say there are a lot of great kids out there. But we want to give you some indicators of what's going on. So if you see any of this in your child, you're going to take action. You're going to do something. You're not going to just sweep it under the rug, close the door, because that's the worst thing you do, because it will just multiply. And who knows where that will end up. But unlike previous studies that focused, now this is what I was talking about for the last few years, total screen time, right? As this pivotal point in a child's life. This study looked at how young kids, their patterns of compulsive use, addictive behavior changed over time. So the study goes a little bit from year to year to year, and I'll link the study. I'll put it in the body of this video. And the patterns include feeling unable to stop using a device, something we have heard so often, experiencing distress when not using it or using it to escape from problems. Now, everything I'm saying right now, in my opinion, can also go for adults, but we're focused on the kids. People use things to escape, watch stupid videos to escape. Look, I even watch some streaming shows very late at night just to escape the work we do during the day. Just kind of mindless things I can stare at. It's kind of that same thing. But the study published, and just June 18th. Brand new study. Was led by researchers at the Weill Cornell Medicine, Columbia University, and University of California, Berkeley. So we've got these three big entities coming together, which I love to do this. And we want all the parents and educators to have discussions around phones and social media use. Now, we talk about this a lot. Everybody's been talking about it. It seems a lot. It's still not happening. I'm here to tell you this. Banning, yelling, none of that works. These devices are here to stay. This is the way of our world. This is our future in America. Things are only going to escalate more into this digital space. Like it or not, let's deal with what we have. So you must talk about it with your kids. First, limiting cell phone use, for instance, during school hours was not effective in reducing the risk of suicide behavior or improving other aspects of mental health. So yes, we do have a lot of bell to bell, what's called you enter the school, you leave the school. In those school hours, you cannot use a cell phone as a child. Right here in my home state of New York, we are beginning that program in a short 2 months. That would be September. And still, teachers tell me, parents, they haven't heard about it. They don't know what exactly the plan is. And our governor, Kathy Hochul, I'm just throwing something in because this is a typical behavior. I think if you roll out a plan and you earmark money, you also have to have the follow-through plan and how you implement this plan in all the schools across the state of New York. I frankly don't know how they're going to do this. Everybody clapped and applauded. So far, no plan. Let's all get on the same page. That's one thing. People are not on the same page about things. When it comes to this crisis with our kids, we all better start getting on the warrior's same page so we all know what to do, okay? So limiting that's great during the school day, but again, that does not mitigate what's going to happen to a child who tends to have mental problems or has become, addicted to this social media because they're just going to go to the phone after school or they're going to bring it into the bedroom at night. What do we always tell you? No devices in the bedrooms. I know, easier said than done, but I bet you bought that device, and that means it's your device. These are family devices, not your child's device, so you better put some limitations and guardrails around all of this. The study, though, and I'm so proud and happy, and I wasn't part of it, but it's a paradigm shift in how the impact of screen time on mental health is addressed, because it was always just the kids are spending hours on these devices. And I would say, yeah, but some kids don't harm themselves and spend hours. Not that I'm promoting it or agreeing that's the right thing to do. And then there are other kids that truly become addicted. I can think of 3 right now off the top of my head that we work with that are true addictions. They can't function without the device. They're sick. They're on medication. They can't go to school. They run away from school. All these horrible things. And they started out a couple of years ago as seemingly just great kids. And they're still great kids. But they have a problem, and it's mental health, okay? So what we want to talk about is there were over 4,000 kids put into this study, ages 9 and 10. And that's when the study first started. And then it went up to age 14, so they had a couple of years, which you need to do in these studies to track things. So almost 1 in 3 participants by the age of 14 had a high addictive use trajectory towards social media, and 1 in 4 on the phones, right? And more than 40% of youths had a high addictive use for video games. Video games are very dangerous. I know everybody thinks it's just kids playing, but you better darn well know, especially age appropriate, who's playing those games with your child or teen. You got to have the conversation, and it can be around, I don't know, cooking or doing laundry or some little thing where you say, hey, do you know everybody, who's on the screen? Who do you play with? And open it up that way instead of being this accusatory, banning, shouting. Does not work. Because you know and I know that child, that teen's going to run into it behind your back. So get them on your page, because this is what kids report to me. Parents don't listen. They don't care. They don't have time for me. Show an interest. Build that trust. Play a game with your child, even if it is not your thing. And believe you me, it's not a lot of our things playing these games, but show them you have interest, because they were born in this digital bubble. It is not their fault. You as the parent or guardian were put in this position. It's not your fault. But we've got to get ahead of this runaway train, I am telling you, because I am seeing things in the last few months going into the AI, the artificial intelligence, that when I tell you I'm frightened, and I'm not a frightened warrior, but I'm concerned. I'm concerned for you, right? So let's continue with this. So we had this study for almost 4 years, started when kids were 9 or 10, so now we're up to 13 and 14. But it all proved that so many of these kids using video games became highly addictive. Highly, one more game, can't turn it off. What do you mean? Have to be with my friends. So get on top of this. But these are the kids who had these behaviors, who also had the suicidal behaviors or thoughts. Again, increased anxiety and depression, aggression or rule breaking. And let me just throw something in here. Right now, I'm recording this on June 19th, 2025. There is so much going on in our country. Everybody, so many adults have depression and anxiety, and they're overwhelmed in aggression. The kids are absorbing this and seeing this. So these poor kids have an overall heavy weight bearing on them. But I want to go with a couple of things. Parents, again, the study very broadly points out many times over, again, I'll put the study in the body of the video, exactly what I am telling you, that you must pay more attention to the devices, what the kids are doing on the devices, and have your children, it's no shame out there, warriors, evaluate it for the signs of addictive use, because more physicians are getting on board with this. They're seeing more of this. And you know what? You must, if it's identified, then you can deal with it. And dealing with it is limiting the use for part of the day, because even an hour a day, but that would include, and it's going to be tough, the adults leading by example and putting your phones away for an hour a day. But seeking professional advice, and there now are, you can get recommendations through your main doctor about these addictive social media behaviors. So now we want to go to, the study doesn't say per se, it doesn't prove that these addictive screen uses, right, cause mental health problems. But we know they're linked to roughly doubling the risk of these bad behaviors. We need further study and evaluation. And that is what I don't understand. In all of the work we do at the Warriors, whether it's sex trafficking, labor trafficking, digital safety, in-person safety, that this common thing I hear is, well, we don't have the money for that study. Oh, we don't have the man or woman power for that study. We got to find it. And this is something the Warriors has been pushing on our elected representatives. This is priority, because I don't know about you, I see a lot of money floating around here going to all other places. We got to use it at home, right? We got to take care of our own kids and protect them and identify, and how are we going to deal with, again, none of this is going away, social media, the internet life, and again, everybody's not on the same page. Some schools have phones, some schools don't have phones, some force the kids to do their homework on a tablet. Kids who don't have a tablet are doing it on their phones. So until we all come together, right, we're so far behind, and come up with a safety plan. But we're also working on so many different interventions, and the study points out they're working on further developing more studies, more timely, more interventions themselves to address addictive behaviors, because remember, these are our future adults, our future leaders, right? So we want to keep up with, this is good information. So when I say I give you a lot, and there's a lot to deal with here, but remember, predators are always counting on you know none of this information. Predators are always counting on your children mean dollar signs to them. Predators are always counting on these studies won't happen, and they're almost right about that one. This is the newest, most well-received in just 24-hour study we have. And remember, it is something, it's not your child's fault, it's not your fault, it's nobody's fault. It was thrust upon us. But we want you to start young. We used to say, when I started all of this, okay, high schoolers, then it was middle schoolers. As soon as your child can walk and talk age appropriate, you must begin the education about online. Now, whether that is with a 3-year-old, Mattel just announced, they didn't really explain it well, except to say it would be groundbreaking, the Mattel, the toy maker, right? Barbies and big wheels and all that stuff. A couple of days ago, they put out a big press release that they are going to be using AI now with all their toys, and it's going to be fantastic. What exactly does that mean? Does it mean our 3-year-old can now hold it? No, I'm just saying this. I don't know, because this press release was not very clear, except they were applauding themselves. Does it mean now our 3-year-old can hold a doll and stare at it, think something, and the doll will just stop talking? Does it mean the 5-year-old programs the doll to say everything nice to it? So that child will become brainwashed and used to that as the way of the world. So if somebody should come along and say something they don't like, a disagreeing point of view, that fights break out, perhaps leading to physical violence, we don't know yet. We've got to start prepping the kids like right when they're born. With that, I want to thank everyone who participated in this study, because this, to me, we have a couple of things we got to look at. The study, it gives us proof about our mental health for kids, indicators what we need to do, right? There's a true addiction. Address it. Don't sweep it under the rug. Number 2, they're doing further studies. So this is very good. They'll follow the trajectories and keep it up. Number 3, as we in the Warriors fight in Washington. And by the way, your donations allow us to travel fully back and forth to Washington to put money into our education programs and also to support survivors that have been harmed from big tech. So thank you for all of that. We have to push on Congress. It's okay if you don't do that. It's a tough thing. I do it for you. We at the Warriors will do it. But just know that I need you. If I tweet something out or I put something on Facebook or Instagram, support us. Share the information on your social media platforms. Because until we address, and this is another program, that Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, which basically says the internet is a billboard, so they can't be held responsible for third-party content. We can't get anywhere. So we're working on that in Washington to sunset that, get rid of that. That thing was born in 1996. Can you imagine? Almost 30 years old. Nothing's been changed, amended. Disgraceful. Disgusting. I'll leave that for another program. And also ending the demand. So if these predators are allowed, right, to abuse our kids and they're making money from it, why stop? And they got the Section 230 that allows them to go on and on and on. Why stop? But if we end the demand, because there's accountability, because there's a criminal penalty, because there's a piece of law that you will be dragged into court, you will lose everything. Because wacky, but I thought anything with a minor was against the law, didn't you? Yet, somebody decided our precious children are chattel, and they're going to use them to make a lot of money. And many people are complicit. So let us come together. Let us keep on this every single day of our lives in some way, shape, or form. Remember always, please subscribe to our channel. We need to build numbers. You know these things aren't popular, that we talk about at the Warriors, but we are committed to keep going because our goal is helping one child, one family, one good take action each and every day because there's so much going on. Go back. Look at my last interview with John Pizzurro, who ran the Internet Crimes Against Children in the state of New Jersey for many years, who now is in charge of the CEO Raven, where they help law enforcement with all these issues. They help write policy in Washington. John is a tremendous warrior. Listen to what he has to say. And listen how he has to beg for money from our government. And how people in Congress vote against him. Shocking and shameful, but not on our Warriors Watch. So take it all in, take a breath. I'll put the study in the body of the video. Just remember, we are here for you when you wake up each and every day. Go out and be a warrior. And always remember, community creates change. Thank you.